Yes?
How do you know when a story is ready to submit?
That's a good question. Generally, I decide a story is ready to submit when I can't think of a way to make it better. Sometimes I've had a story that I write and I take it to writing group, and the writing group has various problems with it, and I go, oh yeah, I probably should do something about that. And then I put it in a drawer, well, not literally in a drawer, I put it in a file folder on my computer, and time passes, and eventually I pull it out, and I go, I read it, and I go, huh, actually, I think it's okay. And then I submit it. And I actually ended up in Year's Best SF with a story that my writing group had criticized and found various problems with, and I had not fixed, because I eventually decided that they were essentially trying to make the story something a little different than what it really was. So yeah, if you have an idea about how to make a story better, then make it better. If you don't know how to make it better, then generally you should submit it unless you know that there is a major flaw in it and you don't know how to fix it yet, but you're hoping you'll figure out how to fix it. But yeah, if you basically say, I like this story, I don't know how to make it any better than it is, it's ready to submit. Yeah. Other questions? Yes? That's fine.
Where would you submit novellas?
Novellas are kind of a tough sell because they are so long. Intergalactic Medicine Show occasionally takes novellas. Generally, we serialize them. But all of the big three magazines, Analog, Asimov's, and F&SF, take novellas. It's kind of tough to sell them, if you don't have a track record with the magazine, but it happens occasionally. There are also a few places that specialize in novellas. There's an anthology called Alembical, an anthology series called Alembical that publishes novellas, and there's a market called Giganotosaurus, I think, something along those lines, that publishes fiction too long for other markets. And both those places have had novellas end up on the Nebula or Hugo ballots, so they are read. Yeah. Someone else had a question? Yes.
I was just wondering, how is it a good idea, or could it be a good idea, I suppose, to treat it like a novella or a longer work or a shorter work like a novel and self-publish it through books or whatever? Have you had any success?
Yeah, I know people who have done that, yeah, and have had success with that. One of the problems with short fiction for Kindle and things like that is selling them as standalone short fiction pieces is kind of tough, because there are a lot of 99-cent novels out there, and the least amount you can charge is 99 cents for short fiction as well. So, I have a bunch of my short fiction up there. They don't sell very many copies because, in terms of value for money, people look at it and go, well, if I can get a 100,000-word novel as opposed to a 2,000-word short story for the same price, that's got to be a really good short story to get me to pay for it. So novellas probably have a better chance than novelettes, which have a better chance than short stories. Now, what you might try do is bundling a few of them together to get the word count up, and that that seems to work for some people. Ebooks are very unpredictable right now. The market is constantly changing, and so a lot of it's try it and see if it works. I would advise, though, trying to find a market for it, a professional market for it first, because you can always put it up later, for Kindle and make some extra money after you've already been paid. And getting paid twice for the same work is always good. Yes?
Brandon Sanderson in previous classes has talked about the ratio of new concepts to old familiar concepts that go into a work. I would imagine that in short stories that the readers would have a higher tolerance for new concepts because they're used to a medium in which there's less time to introduce those concepts. Have you found that to be true, and can you comment?
Sounds true to me. One of the things, for instance, I've done, a lot more experimental type stuff with short fiction than I ever have with the novels I've written and not published. For instance, one of the stories I wrote for Daily Science Fiction was about 850 words, and I would never do this in a novel, but it was written entirely of words of one syllable. I set myself that as a challenge to write a complete story in words of only one syllable. And the story worked really well at that length. At 100,000 words, it would have gotten very monotonous. And so, and I think, short fiction readers are used to, having, something really weird in there, and, because it's short, there's not much time to develop the non-weird stuff, and so you rely on essentially the cliches and stereotypes I was talking about earlier for people to fill in the rest of it. So the proportion of stuff in there that's really new and different is higher. Yeah, I think that's probably right.